All right, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. You have got to see the technicals in this video, whether it's on the markets or it's on Nvidia, Bitcoin, Tesla. I'm even going to toss in, this goes out to you, wild man. I'm going to toss in TMF as well so you can see what we have coming. And we need to talk about the economic catalyst that we have coming up, especially where TMF is concerned for that, and it does also involve the overall market. I'm speaking specifically about non-farm payrolls and also the unemployment rate coming up on Friday. I said for weeks now that this week was going to be huge, and it's proved to be just that way so far, like we saw yesterday with Nvidia dropping over 9.5% and then bouncing today. Thank goodness, it felt kind of nice, but we have to look and see where we're positioned. So without further ado, let's bring the charts up here and we'll take a crack at what we see. So I'll give you a stripped down view of the charts, and then I'll toss up my technicals and give further commentary. So here we go. So what you see right now is SPY in front of you, and this is the most recent action that we have on the daily chart. This blue, light blue line coming right through here is the 50-day simple moving average, and we tried it out and we actually bounced off it a little bit. Today we tried it out again and we're pretty much sitting on it. We are actually just closing right at about this beige line, which is right here. Maybe it's a little bit pink. I'm not great at seeing that color, especially when they're all combined. But being right in between those, that is something that if we see that push down a little bit further through this, that could actually set our RSI down here. Mind you, watch my morning video for what I had to say about the monthly charts of the RSI. Like for momentum, that was a hugely important video. Not very well watched, as those videos usually aren't. But if you're wondering what could happen in the next few months with the market, like, that is an important video. Go watch that one. And by the way, with my technicals, you can learn this like I do. There's a course down in the description through Stockmo Academy. Click that. Use the code word DOCTOR for massive savings. And also, if you guys want to see my buys and sells, talk with me and my community members, there's a link for the Patreon down in the description. You can snag that. Join us over the Discord. Back to the charts here, which, by the way, VWAP, I got to keep that off in this view. It should only be on for the intraday charts. So what we're looking at here is you can see that nice rounded top that we have there. When we're fighting with the moving averages here, dropping down below this is a bearish thing. Watch for that momentum down to the bottom on this one. Let's put the technicals. It's getting a little bit messy on here, but I'll stretch this out. We can really see the support that we're setting on right now, and you can also see the rejection that we got up here. I have not changed these technicals, and the fact that the RSI is near 50 is also really important. We are at a critical time right now leading up to the ISM services data coming out tomorrow, and then non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate coming up for us. I wouldn't be surprised to see tomorrow kind of be a wishy-washy day in the markets, really holding off for what could happen to us on Friday. So by the way, those times, ISM services data coming out at 10 a.m. and we want to see numbers up above 50 to talk about expansion. That would be good. And upward pressure for the markets. Down below 50 starts to show contraction. That could be downward pressure for the market. So we want to keep that in mind. Just a simple view of that. That doesn't mean the market moves up or down, but it would certainly help it one way or the other. So, and then on 8:30 on Friday, we have non-farm payrolls. We want that to come in strong. And then we also have unemployment rate. I'll talk more about that when we get to TMF. So with the charts that we have here, we could be holding off for Friday. Let's move over into QQQ. Well, actually, let me just tell you real quick about the prices. So we actually have a 0.5 up here at about 551. You can see that rejection. And so for right now, where's that floor? We actually found a decent floor so far. Tomorrow could possibly start to look a little bit more for ceiling. If we end up down in here, down below the 50 period moving average that's here for us, simple moving average, we could see us moving into free fall down to about 546. Into this area of support, and we actually have some really decent support in there all the way down to about 544. So the range tomorrow, if we drop to the downside, it could be anywhere in here. It could also catch on to that support area. To the upside, we'd have to muck and mire our way through this. I think we'd have to have some really favorable market conditions to see that take place. It doesn't mean we can't be up from where we're at today. We could be in this blackened area that's through here, but from about 553 upward from there, there's a ton of resistance to the upside, and I think it's going to take Friday's numbers to decide if we're going to make it back up there or not. So let's move over to the Qs. So what we have with the Qs, we are down below the 50 simple moving average. We're up above, we're down below the 20, and so both of those being down below both is a bearish thing to watch that happen. We're not necessarily in free fall yet. It looks just from some historic movement that we have around 455 or so, 454. is where we could find ourselves. So down a little bit from where we're at right now, we could also come back up and start looking for a little bit more ceiling, considering that we found the floor. So maybe we get a little bit of levity in tomorrow's markets. We're going to have to find out. Services data is going to be one of those other impactful things that we have. So let's put the technicals up here so you can see what I have drawn. And you can see the rejection that we got off this resistance that I talked about in some of my previous videos. This morning, I didn't really talk a lot about specifics. Now I'm bringing those specifics. We're in a bit of a free fall area. So if we hit our heads again and sell down further, we actually have some pretty massive support down through here for the Qs. So I think that's most definitely also worth checking out. So price target 1, by the way, 454 to the downside. If we are able to tumble down through there, we find ourselves down here on 443, and that starts to get down near, let me take this away again for you, this yellow 200-day that we see. That's when things really start to get spicy. We saw that in the carry trade. We saw a massive ramp off of that. If we do end up somehow getting down that low throughout the month of September, maybe in October, that could be another place where we find a decent bounce. Selling down through that, we want to start looking on longer time frames to see where else we could find that support. And I also have those technicals as well. And I share the technicals over at the Discord, available through the Patreon before they ever hit YouTube. So if you want to see them early, sometimes it's throughout the trading day, sometimes before the trading day, and that way it gives you more time to plan on things. Like I said, that link down in the description for the Patreon. Head on over to the Discord. You can see it at my Technicals on Watch channel, and you can also see the buys and sells that I share over there as well, and you can talk to me and my community members. Let's move over to IWM. Where did IWM do today? Well, here's the 20-period moving average, and we're sitting like right at it. Right at it. We closed. As a matter of fact, the 20-period is $212.91, and we closed at $212.99, 8 cents above. So we have it as like the thinnest support that I think we could have. I mean, just 8 cents away. That's literal pennies. So we're up above the 50. Found that as support right now. We'll see where we find that ceiling. Let's put the technicals on there to see where we find ourselves. And you can see I have this labeled as critical support. We not only have some Fibonacci extension values on here that show us where that support is, but we also have, this is the top of a bullish channel coming along this part of it. So we want to be watching for that as well. And if we do break down through that support with the 50 and the 20-day moving averages, that could send us back down to about 210. We get some really critical support around 209. So we want to be watchful for that as well. So those price targets, I have those on here. You can see those. And like I said, they are also available. I'm going to do some updates on here to clean this up a little bit for everyone and give a little bit clearer commentary on those as well. This is one that I have drawn for a while now, and it's time to clean some of that up. So that's if you've been watching my channel, you know what I've been doing. You also know that my technicals have been they've been hitting time and time and time again for at least 3, maybe even 4 weeks now. Since I really updated my approach to include some information that I didn't do before. And gosh, I really like it. It's really working out. Let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia's down below its 50-day. It's down below its 20-day. We're heading south. We bottomed out around $91 or $92 a share with the carry trade. It actually looks like it was $90.69 was the low price that day, and then closed all the way back up at just over $100. So we know that there's buying pressure to be found down there. If we find ourselves in that 2-digit territory, we'll probably bounce again. The 200 days all the way down here at almost $89 per share. That is very much also worth checking out. This high wick showing us that selling pressure. We tried to make that climb, just couldn't do it. What do the technicals look like? Well, take a look at this. You can see the rejection that we have to the upside here. You can also see this resistance that I have marked. It's kind of crazy because we hit this price target up here, but we also hit this price target down there. And I don't know that I've ever hit to either side in one day. So that was wild. So we actually had a low price of about 104.12 and the high price was 113. So like a $9 swing from top to bottom of this thing. Now we did close up above 106. That's a good thing. We actually needed to close up above that to have that further upside. So we found out where the ceiling was on this. We found out where the floor was. Now we're kind of stuck in limbo. So we got our bounce from that, ended up selling back down, find that selling pressure. We have bearish momentum on the daily chart. So moving into Bitcoin and Tesla, like I said, I would talk specifically about TMF. So if you're excited about that, stick around. I'm going to talk about it specifically. Bitcoin down below the 50-day on this one. Oh, we are also, where's my 200 at? There's my 200. Down below the 200, down below the 50. The fact that the faster moving averages are down below the slower moving averages, that's a bearish thing. We got bearish momentum, but something to look at just on a daily basis. On Bitcoin, before we pull up the technicals, we actually got a higher low and a higher high. We might climb from here. As a matter of fact, wait until I put the technicals on and you'll see the support that we landed on. And I gotta tell you that before I made this video that I did update the technicals. I put that out over at the Discord. So when you look at this, it's gonna look like I called the support here, which there was a support line there, but it wasn't one that I had a price target at. I did move the price target to that value. So this price target that you see right here, this was actually not sitting there before. I just moved it down to that level. As a matter of fact, that should say 55,879. I got to change that. We'll make that good for you, and then I'll update that over at the Discord as well. 55,879. There we go. My apologies for that, but that's fixed now. This is not a price target hit because I put this up here after the fact. But I do think that if we lose this line that we're at, and this is a really critical support that we're at, as a matter of fact, so critical, I'm going to label this critical support that we happen to be over right now. Critical supper. I'm hungry. Support. There we go. And we're also going to make that green because we are currently above it. So it still is. This is a hugely critical line. This will decide if we hit the price target to the top side of this or the price target to the bottom side of this. We're going to have to watch for that support and see what happens. Like I said, near-term bearish momentum. Somewhat starting to climb, but we don't have, when looking at that RSI on a daily basis anyway, we don't have the high beaten. So if we actually are able to make it up to 50 on the RSI and cross into bullish territory, that can be something that would really help us out. And Friday could be that day. As a matter of fact, this might be a good time. I'll do Tesla quick, and then I'll transition to TMF and talk more about unemployment and non-farm payrolls and how it could impact TMF directly, and then also the rest of the market as well. So let's move over from there into Tesla, and then we'll get to TMF. So Tesla, we got rejected pretty darn squarely off the 50-day. And this is one that over in the Discord today, I said that if we made it up above 216, we could rise up to 223. Well, we got darn close. We actually peaked out on this at $222.22. We actually didn't make it up to what I had for resistance at 223 because of the 50-day, the blue 50-day that you see on here. Let me see if I can get that nice and big on your screen so you can see we actually exceeded it by the time it closed. And now, mind you, some of that was impacted here, but the top of that wick is right at the 50-day that we have. Now, we do still have some bullish signs out for Tesla, and that's a good thing. So, for instance, we have the 5 crossing over the 13 and the 13 crossing over the 50. Beautiful. The RSI is also over 50. Now, what else do we see from a technical standpoint for Tesla? Well, we have this consolidation pattern happening here when we have the lower highs and the higher lows narrowing in each other, really squeezing down. We hit both the bottom and the top of that. I was able to squeeze a quick day trade on that for a few bucks. I'd have to go and look to see at what percent I got on that. I think it was somewhere close to about a 30% bump after a few minutes time being in that one. And like I said, I put it out over at the Discord. I said, if we can cross above 216, we have room up to 223. And well, that ended up working out pretty well for me. And I saw somebody else in my YouTube comments said that they were able to have some successful trades as a result of some of the information that I shared with them. So if that also is part of your story, if you like these technicals, if they're working for you, let me know down in the comments. If you guys want to see them before they hit YouTube, hit up that Patreon, head on over to the Discord. And if you guys want to learn to do this technical analysis yourself, use that link in the description for Stockmo Academy. Use the coupon code DOCTOR. Help me out. Help yourself out with those technicals and up your trading game. So, guys, now's the time to talk about non-farm payrolls and to talk about what we have for unemployment. So, non-farm payrolls, right now the consensus for non-farm payrolls at Friday, 8:30 a.m., consensus 160,000. Previously, we were at 114,000, so we got a soft number on that. Plus, we got a hefty unemployment rate, not necessarily by historical standards, but it's something that it's argued that it hit the SOM rule for that one. So it went up to 4.3%. Market didn't like it at all. Well, the consensus right now is at 4.2% for that. So if we come in at 4.2, I think the market's going to rally pretty hard on Friday, which is good for the markets. In terms of TMF, I don't know that it's great for TMF to watch it hit 4.2 instead of 4.3. I think that TMF will probably slow its ascent, and I'll show you the technicals on that and what would happen if we get like 4.3, 4.4. I think that would be positive for TMF. I think it would be downward pressure that we would have on like the S&P, on the Nasdaq 100, on the Russell 2000 especially. I think it would be hard on those. And if we got soft non-farm payrolls, if we drastically miss consensus at 160,000, matter of fact, a number that would only be a 2-digit number of thousands, so like 99,000 or below, I think would have some shock value that would go along with it as well. So we really, when we look at these numbers, we want to watch for a not necessarily a tightening of the labor market, but a sustaining of the labor market. We don't want to see any drastic softening from where we currently find ourselves with the labor market. That's actually going to be where we find our trouble. So for TMF, soft numbers for jobs can be strong numbers for TMF, if you want to think about it that way. And it can mean weak numbers for the market. So we could see more of a flight to safety kind of move where money's flowing into things like bonds and out of the risk on type securities. And that could also negatively impact things like Bitcoin as well. So anything that would lean more towards recession, not necessarily great for the markets, pretty good for TMF. And anything that would tell us more about Goldilocks scenario is probably going to be mitigating to what we see for the price action for TMF. And it's going to be pretty darn good for the markets, especially if we get a 4.2, as is the consensus right now, according to Trading Economics, for the unemployment rate. All right, let's put the technicals up for TMF. I think you're going to like this too. These I also shared over at the Discord. So you go ahead and check them out. So a little bit less involved than what you see for some of the other ones. Matter of fact, let's do that stripped down view that I gave with some of the other ones so you can really see, and then we'll come back to these price targets and stuff. So what I see right now is we're above this yellow 200-day that's coming down this way. That's that thin yellow line. The thick yellow line is the 13 period. We actually had a decent move up today and crossing back up above $60 per share. You can see this previous peak sort of holding us up a little bit that we had back here on August the 21st. We want to see that push higher. And then we also have that hang up right around that $62 per share. So the momentum side of things is looking really good for TMF. The economic reports could either keep it going or it could spoil it. So we need to be ready in either direction for this price action to be mitigated. In the next 2 days in the market are probably going to make or break that based on the economic reports that we get for ISM services, non-farm payrolls, and the unemployment rate. So let's put the technicals up there just so you can see. There's a few things I want you to notice. One, just like Tesla, we have a consolidation pattern taking place right in here that you can see that we have that narrowing down of the price action. In order to see that price action move up, we broke this first resistance. That's good. We didn't make it up to this next trend line resistance here that, well, we still have a few dollars before we can get up there. Another dollar or two, we can make it up there. We do need to break above that to have confirmation for further upside with a consolidation pattern. If instead we get rejected, we could head back down. We have really solid support at $53.48. So we want to be looking for that. That's what I have here for the very strong support right across here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a green line out there for you because we want to be looking for that for support. So very strong support. Like I said, shared over at the Discord. I shared it today, and I do have long positions in TMF through holding the shares directly, and then also a call option position on this as well. I think we could see that 62 popping out for us, or pretty darn close to it. I'm up about 25% on that one right now. I think it's going to turn out pretty handsomely for us. But like I said, the expiration's in October. We have a coin flip coming up with the next 2 days here. So maybe tomorrow I get rid of that call option position, not sweating what we get for non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. Maybe it's something that I hold on to, and just in case we have further weakness between now and the election, which is one of the reasons why I bought it in the first place, is just in case we had that weakness in the markets that ended up being pretty good for the bond market. This was one of those plays that I highly favored that could really help bolster my portfolio in the event that we had exactly what we're having now, which is a bit of a selling type time in the overall indices. So this is what I got for TMF. That's what I think about the economic reports coming up with it, that they can be really big catalysts for the price for TMF in either direction. The more negative they are, for example, that can be more upward pressure for TMF. And it's one of the reasons why I hedged that way using it. I also have hedges with SQQQ, SPXU. I also have some hedges with that as well. And then I also have some sold call options that are out there as well, some sold covered calls, just for some positions that help to lower my cost basis along the way. Like I said, if you guys want to see my buys and sells, talk with me, talk about option strategies, you can find me at the Discord. That link's down in the description for the Patreon. Click sign up, head on over to the Discord, and don't forget about that technical analysis course through Stockmo Academy. It is tight. It is well put together, well designed. You get to learn about the bread recipe, which is a trading strategy that I've not seen something so clean, easy, and efficient in using for getting in and out of trades. It never tells you what to buy or sell. We wouldn't do that, but it does help you to recognize when we're starting to see those movements take place in the markets. It's something I use myself along with the other technicals that you see here on this channel. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.